Louis Ferrante, Michael Franzese was kind of, look, the mob were involved, CIA were probably involved. Where do you sit with this?
I did over 10 years of research, 12 to 18 hours a day, and they definitely were involved, but there's also an element that has always been overlooked that I wrote about in my latest book, which is the Secret Service. And there's a number of things that happened when John F. Kennedy landed in Love Field. From the moment he landed in Love Field to the moment he was killed in Dealey Plaza, there's a series of events that took place that point directly to the Secret Service. And everyone has always overlooked the Secret Service. During the Warren Commission, they talked about protection of the president. During the House Assassinations Committee, they questioned if the protection of the president was adequate. Did they do everything they needed to do, the Secret Service? But they left out some crucial pieces of the puzzle. When the advance man for the Secret Service, the man on the ground, first of all, in Dallas was Forrest Searles. And the advance man for the Secret Service coming from Washington was Winston Lawson. When Winston Lawson got there, there was a few orders that he gave. One was the bubble top would be removed off John F. Kennedy's limousine, which was, okay, the sun is out now, it was raining, it's a sunny day, let's remove the bubble top, fine. Then there were agents that were supposed to be riding rear riding steps of the limousine. Normally you see two agents on the back, left, just by the left and right taillights. They were told to not ride the rear steps. Those are tall agents that would obstruct a shot from behind the limousine. This was odd to them. One of the agents called Washington and said, is this real? Are we really being told not to ride the rear riding steps? And the gentleman who was in charge back in Washington was a man by the name of Gerald Bain, extremely overlooked for 60 years. Gerald Bain, for the first time since John F. Kennedy became president, was on vacation, supposedly. He took a vacation, a mysterious vacation. He was always riding in the front right passenger seat in front of Kennedy during every motorcade. He was glued to Kennedy. This was supposed to be one of Kennedy's most dangerous trips to Dallas because there were a lot of people who were contentious toward Kennedy in Dallas. And all of a sudden, Gerald Bain says, well, I'm going to be taking a vacation and I'm not going to be on that trip, which surprised everyone. Then all of a sudden, when they're getting these mysterious last-minute changes to the motorcade, and there are more of them, which I'll outline really quick, they call, and Bain is back in the office, in his office in the East Wing. And he said, well, at the last minute, I decided to come back to work, and I'm going to be calling the shots here from the East Wing. Very, very odd. So they're stunned, the agents on the ground, who are patriotic agents. They want to protect the president's life, but they're stunned with these last-minute changes. There were supposed to be 8 motorcycle cops around the president's vehicle. 4 of them got bumped to the back of the line. Mysteriously, they didn't understand it, by the Secret Service. That was the press vehicle, which was supposed to be a couple of cars behind Kennedy's limousine, was bumped to the back of the line. The press didn't understand it. We know how to snap photos. Why are we being bumped to the back of the line? So all of these changes that are occurring, everybody's stunned. They're all Secret Service changes. There was a last-minute change to the motorcade route. Originally, Kennedy was supposed to get right onto the Stemmons Freeway, and instead they made him make a right turn onto Houston Street, then a sharp left onto Elm Street, placing him in a canyon of buildings, amidst the canyon of buildings, and with the grassy knoll in front of him, to his front right, and you have the book depository and the Daltex building behind him with a clear shot at him from the rear. Why is Kennedy being placed in this, basically what we know now to be a kill zone? This is also made by the Secret Service. So after all of these changes were made, the advance man, Winston Lawson, later said, I'm the first guy in the Secret Service who cost the president his life. Well, he wasn't punished for it. He got a nice cushy job with the Department of Defense. In 2017, when Mike Pompeo talked President Donald Trump out of releasing the documents, he said people were still alive. Winston Lawson didn't die till December of 2019. He may be somebody. I'm not sure. Gerald Bain, on Winston Lawson too, may have been innocent because he's taking orders from Gerald Bain. What happened to Gerald Bain after all of these mysterious changes that cost the president his life? Gerald Bain goes on to become the head of Lyndon Baines Johnson's security detail.
Okay, so let me just jump in. Right, let me just jump in just to say this: that I mean, what you're saying is fascinating, and I'll get the others to comment on this. I've no idea if anything you've just said means anything or not, but it's certainly very interesting, and you've clearly done a lot of research into this. I do know, because I interviewed Clint Hill, who was the Secret Service agent who was Jackie Kennedy's bodyguard he was the one who jumped on the back of the limousine after the first shots rang out. And he's always regretted the fact that he slipped. And had he been able to get up quicker, he thinks he would have taken the third bullet and possibly have saved Kennedy's life. So, I know from having interviewed him several times and heard his story, what his account is. What was interesting to me was there were only 34 people in the Secret Service presidential detail at the time, in totality. For Trump now, there's 10 times as many who are specific to the president. So it changed everything about how presidents get protected.
I do believe that somehow, some way, somebody did get to hire people in government who made last-minute changes to Kennedy's motorcade route. When you tell me there's a dozen changes that occurred to his motorcade route that led him right into a death trap, you cannot tell me that is by accident. Also, too, the limousine was immediately taken, shoved on an airplane and brought back and reupholstered at Ford Motor Company. They did not keep it as evidence. They washed it and reupholstered it immediately.
So just to be clear, though, you think it was, what, both CIA and the mob in collusion with Lee Harvey Oswald?
I believe rogue agents of the CIA. Allen Dulles was already gone. John McCone was in place, but Richard Helms and William Harvey had already testified that they did not tell McCone everything.